Alrighty, here we go. Welcome into Giants Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green. Not at the studio today. I was actually off. I actually just got back from watching Creed 3 in the movie theater. Pretty good movie, but we got some breaking news surrounding the New York Football Giants. So I wanted to get you guys a video, even though we're off and at the crib. This is why you subscribe. Go down and hit that big red sub button. We'd greatly appreciate it. We're on the cusp of getting to 25,000 subs on the channel. We'd greatly appreciate it if you could help us get there. We put out videos every day on the latest Giants news and rumors. I'm your host, Marshall Green. You're watching Giants Now. News of the day. The Giants are re-signing linebacker Jarrad Davis. He played the last game of the season for the New York Giants, and he also started that game, and he started the two games in the playoffs for the Giants. So he came in to that linebacker room and really just took over that starting position. You had guys like Jalen Smith, Landon Collins, Micah McFadden, Carter Coughlin, and you didn't really have that many veterans in that room, and that let Jarrad Davis come in and be a starter, and he played pretty well for the Giants. He's a good run stopper, and he really provided something to the Giants linebacker core that they really didn't have, which was actual sideline to sideline speed. And he showed that off in the playoffs. I mean, the two games he played, he had 7 total tackles. He had a quarterback hit. He was all over the football field, it seemed like, but he does struggle in pass coverage. And we saw that against the Eagles when he was trying to guard guys like Dallas Goedert. And we saw that against the Vikings when he was trying to guard TJ Hawkinson. 28-year-old linebacker. I actually remember doing the video where the Giants signed Jarrad Davis in Week 17. I was actually also off that day, so something about being off and Jarrad Davis signing with the New York Football Giants is pretty interesting. But I like the move. The Giants, according to Pat Leonard, have $37 million in available cap space, and Joe Schoen said they're done spending money on minimum players. They actually have some money to work with, and he's going to make some moves in free agency, and Jarrad Davis is one of those first moves. I've seen other people say the Giants have $25 million in cap space, so there's some different numbers floating around. Moral of the story is they're going to have enough money to make as many moves as they feel like they need to make to put this team in a spot where they can compete in the NFC East this year. And Jarrad Davis, one of the first ones. You get a guy that's been in the system now for 3 games, not a lot, but played 2 playoff games for you. And they obviously brought him back because Wink Martindale is a fan. They wouldn't bring him back if they didn't like him. So they obviously see something in him. Former first-round pick out of Florida. He's a good football player. I like him. I don't want him to be my starting linebacker. I think he's a good depth piece and a rotational piece, maybe even a third linebacker. Giants still need to get much, much better in that department. Before we get to new information on the Daniel Jones contract and just the latest there and the updates, as we're getting some more solid numbers and we get to see what the deal is like, I want everyone to go down in the comment section and grade the signing of Jarrad Davis for me. A, B, C, D, or A, B, C, D, or F. It's actually a re-signing, so he's back with the Giants, but grade it for me down below, A, B, C, D, or F. I give it a B. It's not expected to be a lot of money. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a 1-year deal, another veteran minimum deal. You get a player that your coaching staff liked and a guy that produced. So I'm happy Jarrad Davis is back. Still only 28 years old, and I think he can continue to get better in the NFL. Let's switch, though, to the news of the week for the New York Football Giants. As we reported, and we were live yesterday on the channel for 4 hours, the Giants have signed or re-signed Daniel Jones to a 4-year, $60 million contract with $82 million guaranteed, which is over the first 2 seasons, which also allowed them to franchise tag Saquon Barkley. But now we have the real numbers of the deal. You know, you always get that sticker shock. Whoa, $40 million per year for Daniel Jones. Well, there's these ways to work around the contract to where it looks like it's a lot more and it's better for the player and better for the PR of the agency, but it's not actually always what that is, and I'll explain that right here. So he has a signing bonus of $36 million. His base salary in 2023 is $9.5 million. He has a workout bonus of $500,000, so pretty much $10 million in year 1. In year 2, it jumps from $9.5 million to $35.5 million with another $500,000 workout bonus. So $36 million in year 2 is his base salary. In 2025, he has a base salary of $30 million, and $23 million of which is guaranteed for injury at signing, and another $12 million of which converts to fully guaranteed after the start of the league year. So that pretty much tells you that the Giants are going to have an option after year 2 going into 2025 and before year 3 to get out of that contract with a little bit of wiggle room. There would be some dead cap hit right there, but they would be able to get out of it by, only taking a little bit, not a little bit, but some of that cap hit. $30 million, 23 of it, which is guaranteed. Another 12, which is converted to fully guaranteed, which pretty much means if they want to keep him, they could also convert that to a signing bonus, which would lower that cap hit. Also has a $500,000 workout bonus that year. This is where the deal gets interesting. In the fourth season, in 2026, he has an off-season roster bonus of $1 million, meaning in 2026, if we're still here kicking at Chat Sports, which I plan we are, we're going to be live on that day, and we're going to be counting down, seeing if the Giants decide to keep or cut Daniel Jones. Because he has a $46 million non-guaranteed base salary in 2026. So it's not guaranteed that year. Giants can pretty much get out of that deal with minimal hits to the salary cap if they decided to move on after year 3 prior to year 4. Here's some other news. I'll just read this kind of quickly. The deal has a base value of $160 million over 4 years, with a caveat mentioned below. The deal has $82 million fully guaranteed at signing and a practical guarantee of $94 million. Don't really understand what that means, so I'll try to do more research on that. The contract also includes $70 million in available incentives with a maximum payout of $35 million. Jones will earn $1 million in incentives and a $1 million escalator in each year for being a top 15 quarterback. This article doesn't explain what top 15 quarterback means, but I know, I'm sure that's in writing somewhere. It says he can earn another $1.5 million in incentives and a $1.5 million in escalator if he becomes a top 10 quarterback, and also a $1.5 million in incentives and $1.5 million in escalator money in each year for being a top 5 quarterback. That's $4 million in incentives and $4 million in escalators if he's a top 5 quarterback. Some nerd stuff right here, but I just wanted to get all the info out to you guys. Also he has a playoff incentive that adds up to $5 million in incentives and another $5 million in escalators. As it was explained to PFT, who wrote this article, says if Jones performs in 2023 as he did in 2022, he will earn another $1.75 million in 2023 in incentives and another in 2024 as well. At the same level or over the life of the contract, he'll earn $12.25 million of the available $35 million, pushing the total to $172 million and the average annual 43. That said, it's basically a 3-year, $112.5 million contract, given that the $47.5 million due in 2026 is not guaranteed. So the deal actually, after we go through all the nerd stuff and all the terms, that these escalators and all that, it's a 3-year deal worth $112.5 million guaranteed and $47.5 million in 2026 is not guaranteed, and he's getting paid $37.5 million per year, which is the same number as Derek Carr. 3 years, $112.5 million. So I want to ask this question before we bounce